What's up, guys?
Hello.
Sonic.
What's up?
Sidji. How's it been?
It's been very good.
Yeah. How's the semester been?
Semester's been great, dude. Like my first time teaching in a college environment. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Is it your first time teaching in a college
I
environment?
mean, I've taught in schools before,
Okay.
but in like a music college, this was the first time.
Right, like a full-time
Yeah.
college. Acha.
So like a very interesting experience. Really enjoyed it.
What would you say is the highlight?
The highlight for me, I mean, there was a lot of things just getting to know. Like one thing that I really enjoyed was what's different about SAM is like all these students plus faculty are geographically in the same place 24/7. So after a couple of weeks, you really sort of get to know each other, like on quite a deep level.
Yeah, we're not joking when we say Gurukul.
Yes, so that part was very interesting and really enjoyed conducting the ensemble. That was like a very
Yeah, the ensembles were pretty cool
Yes.
this time actually.
yes.
It was fun yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah. What about you, Sonic? Full circle for you in some ways?
Yes, many ways. I mean, just going over the same material that I was taught in the same rooms, but this time I'm looking at it from the other side.
Yeah.
So it was like really cool that way.
Yeah.
And just like getting some time out from Delhi, like not commuting to work every day, no horns, no traffic jams. That was
Yeah.
pretty nice.
Nice.
Nice change. Can't wait to go back though, but can't wait to come back here also.
Right. Do you think you're a strict teacher?
Not really, not at all, not at all. Like not even like half as much as my teachers.
Right. Got it. Do you think, okay, how do you grade yourself as a teacher? I know it's difficult, but...
In what terms? Like, as far as passing the information goes, that I made sure I revised before coming to SAM. I was like, oh, okay, let's check what all I did. And so passing the information happened. But one thing I was sort of stressed, not really stressed, but I was still thinking that when I came to SAM, I already knew who I was going to learn from, like really, not really well, but to a large extent. I knew I was coming exactly for Panagiotis, I was coming exactly for Prasanna, and I knew what music they made, but I did not have things like that, and the students were still like, okay, like we are open enough. This dude might not be like a hot shot, like super famous guy, but we are down to learn.
Right. I mean, I think that's just you being humble. I think, at least as far as the teaching bit goes, I think you're every bit the teacher that Panagiotis was, whatever, Prasanna also. But yeah, what's the Delhi jazz scene? Like we were just talking about this
Delhi
before we
jazz.
started. Yeah. Talk to me about the Delhi jazz scene.
So I kind of stepped into the Delhi jazz scene slightly later than Sonic.
Yeah.
So I'll give you my perspective.
Sonic is one of the OGs in the Delhi
Yes,
jazz
in the
scene.
Delhi jazz scene.
Yeah, I
spent
think
a
this.
lot of time.
When did this Delhi jazz scene thing start actually?
Yeah, I think maybe you should talk about that.
I don't know, maybe like somewhere in the 30s or something like that. Like people have been playing jazz ever since I think India got colonized.
Right. Okay.
So
You know what I mean, though.
yes. I mean, Delhi jazz scene, there was like something of a scene that was starting, which sort of ended with like a lot of venues getting closed because of, I would say, just like legal reasons, like not having a fire exit or something like that. So somewhat of a scene still remains. Of course, there's like this prominent club piano man, and there are like a bunch of piano men. So they have jam sessions, and people are coming to their jam sessions.
Right.
And the person who runs that place, he makes sure that he explains to the audience also, sort of, what do you call that? Condition the audience
Right.
to listen to this kind of music again.
Right.
Delhi does not have a jazz scene, but Delhi has a big music scene. I would say like a lot of independent pop bands playing in the city. I think somewhere around like 200 bands playing every night.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure like most of the pubs and all that, they have something.
Yes.
It might be a Sufi thing,
Yes,
it might be a
yes,
singer-songwriter.
yes.
But it's very interesting what you say about Piano Man, because it's actually really cool that he's managed to create like a crowd for Piano Man.
Yes.
You know, like Piano Man is the kind of venue that if I want to listen to like jazz music, I would go without even knowing who's the artist playing there. I would go there just because that place has become they've kind of branded themselves as being a venue for good jazz music, which is pretty cool.
I mean, not anymore though. They're like other, because of course the market changes, so it's completely understandable also. Like one
Plus
has to run a
pandemic and
place.
everything.
Pandemic. How's the
But,
band? Sorry, please.
Yeah, so there's like pop music over there also. But one thing is for sure, if there's pop music over there, there's going to be like some twist to it.
Sure.
So, so that way it's a nice place. There used to be like so many other places, like there's Depot in Delhi and like a bunch of venues, some theaters where you can, sell tickets and invite people for gigs. So yeah, so the scene is sort of like dying down because also everybody goes to Bombay. As soon as they really learn how to move around their instrument, they will move to Bombay.
Which is what happened to me also.
And you moved to Bombay.
No, so I've actually haven't spent a long enough time in one city. So I've spent a few years in Bombay, then a good chunk in Bangalore, and then now Delhi lately. So that always happens. Like there's this impression amongst all the musicians that all the work is in Bombay. So a lot of us tend to go to Bombay. And it's interesting that Sonic didn't do that, and now sometimes we have conversations about
He's a
that.
bass player. He'll get work.
He'll get work everywhere. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a thing. And for guitarists, it's like the difficulty is quadrupled because just everyone wants to play guitar. I think guitarists and singers probably.
Yeah, there's ups and downs to it. Like I feel like in the teaching sort of situation, guitarists have an upper hand because so
Because
many
everyone
people
wants
want
to
to
learn
learn guitar,
guitar. Yeah, sure.
and you can just
That's
take
interesting.
a guitar and put a camera and just start your classes.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you don't need a big camera setup, big drums, or nothing like that.
So how was the pandemic for you?
Pandemic for me was like during that time I was in Bombay. I was trying to do some commercial work over there, and then I basically got locked up essentially in a containment zone. So I had a lot of time to myself and just nothing much to do because all the studios were shut, all the work was sort of not happening. So yeah, that was a difficult time, but had a lot of time, practiced a lot, that sort of thing.
And you moved to Delhi after that?
Moved to Delhi after that.
And originally you are from Delhi?
I am from Delhi, yes.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. How did you get into music, Sonic?
How did I get into music? I watched what people were doing around me. Like my family was listening to a lot of like, I would say devotional music.
Bhajans and all that.
Yes, and there would be a lot of devotion. Like there used to be a Gurudwara every morning at 4, they would blast music from the speakers, and that's how I would wake up, right? And then of course pop music is there, Bollywood is there, and then somewhere down the line Cliff Burton showed up, and that's
Cliff Burton?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and that's about it. And bass ever since.
Right. So you're also like a Metallica.
Yeah, big time Metallica
Yeah, man.
Exactly.
Same. I heard Unjustice for All and
Of
decided to start playing guitars. But yeah, I'm sure you didn't hear Unjustice for All and decide to pick up bass.
Oh, I heard Kill 'Em All.
Yeah, I mean Unjustice for All has no bass.
Yeah.
Those. And how jazz? How did it switch to jazz?
Friend of mine played me. He was like, man, so there is this like new thing, jazz music. And he's like, you want to listen to it? I was like, okay, might as well. And then he played, I remember, Jupiter by John Coltrane. And like, I was sold. Again, I couldn't understand. Same with Cliff Burton, but this time to like, multiplier effect was there. And I just couldn't get it. But whatever sounds were coming out of the speaker, I just loved it. And I was like, yeah, man, I would like to be around this kind of music. A little bit also. So that is how. And as you said, I'm a bass player. So people will need bass players, and they're like, okay, the other bass player is no more. So yeah. So come and play bass. Come and play bass. And because I was a bass player, people would be like patient with me. They're like, okay, he's just a bassist. He'll take his time to learn the
This is Sonic's favorite thing, man. It's like self-deprecating touch to his humor. Love it.
Man, bass players have done it for themselves.
Exactly.
I can't really.
You can't make fun of a bass player if the bass player is making fun
Yes.
of himself. So,
Yes.
yeah, interesting. What about you? How did you get
Get
into,
started?
Yeah, like music.
Music. So I used to learn tabla when I was a kid.
Okay.
So yeah, because I used to sort of bang on tables and like just with my fingers and stuff. So mom sort of noticed that okay, maybe there's something here. So they put me into like a tabla class, and I remember the teacher's name was very interesting. I hope he's still around. It's been many years. His name was Manoranjan Day.
Manoranjan Day.
Yeah, and he was very entertaining.
Of
So
course.
I learned with him for some time, and then I think studies sort of caught up, and then I wasn't really focusing on music. But I used to sort of like play a little bit in school here
Were
and
you a
there.
nerd at school?
Yes,
Yeah.
I probably still
Looks
have
like
that
that,
energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I was fully into studies and everything, and then in college is when I discovered the guitar because I met my teacher there, Amit Hiri. He's from Bangalore.
Okay.
So I saw him playing and I was like, wow, never heard guitar being played like that. So I immediately contacted him and ki bhai sikha do types.
Okay.
And then he was like really sweet and he just taught me the major scale for I think 6 months straight. Every class, just whatever 20 BPM, that sort of thing.
Right.
That was really helpful.
Right. Was it 20 BPM like literally like 20 BPM?
Yeah, 20 BPM and then like whatever quarter notes there and then increasing.
Right.
Sort of like what you do.
Yeah, that I was just gonna say it's like the whole panas thing where you
Yes.
bury the click. That's I think one of the most it's one of those phrases that has stuck with me at least. What Panagiotis used to talk about.
It's
a lot.
been a long time, so I don't remember if it was 20, 30, but it used to feel very slow. But like when I saw Sonic doing that exercise, I
Yeah.
kind of got a flashback of how I
Yeah.
used to do
The
that.
crab.
Yes, yes.
The crab on like 30 BPM, and it's like his whole thing was like, I shouldn't be able to hear the click because your pick attack is so locked in with the click that you just don't hear the click.
Yes.
And yeah, only after I came to Sam, I realized that to play fast, I actually need to practice slow and make the slow more efficient so that the fast happens rather than trying to like
Yes.
play fast. And of course, like as guitar players, that's one of the things that we
Yeah.
get stuck up on, like play fast, play
I
fast.
also had to like learn that eventually because that time I used to be like, yeah, yaar, every class major scale, same thing again, you know. But yeah, it was pretty important. Like,
So, is he a jazz guitarist?
he's a jazz guitarist. He has Carnatic influences.
Okay.
So he writes compositions and everything. Now,
Right.
if I'm not wrong, he's in Hawaii and he's a yoga instructor also,
Okay.
which
Wow.
is pretty cool. So yeah, I'm like on and off still in touch with him.
Nice.
But yeah, that's how I got started
Right.
with jazz, especially.
Right. And do you think you're a strict teacher? Do you think you expect your students to also be? How do I put this without saying the word nerd? Nerd. Okay.
No, actually, I don't think I'm a strict teacher at all.
Okay.
But I definitely discovered during ensemble that I definitely have the what it takes to grill them.
Okay.
And man, I like kind of discovered that if things are not being done right, it really affects me.
Yeah.
And like I can sort of grill them.
Yeah, I think both of you are very like the polar opposites in that regard because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, you're the kind of teacher where you're like the students don't learn it, you're gonna be like, fine, you're gonna suck tomorrow, not my problem. It's your gig, you guys are gonna suck. Don't learn it, not my problem types.
I would like to be that guy, but I feel bad for the ones who do the work because the students who don't, they waste everybody else's time.
That's
Yes.
true.
Yeah, so that way it bothers me. Otherwise, it
Yeah.
is as you said, like somebody who feels the need to do it will do it. Who does not will not.
And you'll kind of try to really grill them into.
No, so for me, like the experience was okay. So let's say if we're doing a harmony class or a ear training class, to some extent, I feel like that's like okay. Here's music, and here's a concept that we extract from music. Let's say harmony or whatever, tritone substitution. Any of these. I mean, technically, these are all abstract concepts which have been named, right? And
Without
you-
context.
without context, and you learn it on the board and you hear songs where
yeah.
these things happen and stuff like that. So in those classes, I don't sort of like, it's okay. I mean, whether they get it or not, they'll try their best. But during ensemble is where it would sort of affect me.
Right.
Because they have like, okay, if you don't want to study theory or whatever it is, at least you want to play on stage.
Exactly.
Right? So that would sort of get to me.
Yeah.
And I would try to push them, which is actually a good discovery for me.
Yeah.
Because like, okay, I like to be laid back most of the time,
Right.
but yeah, certain things have to be done the way they should be.
Right. No, I mean, it's very true. In fact, like even what you said about the whole, these concepts being abstract. because I remember a lot of times what happens is that it kind of dawns upon you a year later. You know, like a lot of things that I learned at SAM in, like, let's say my harmony class, maybe 1.5 years later when I was doing something, either playing music with someone or figuring something out or maybe even teaching someone, that's when it dawned upon me, oh, this is what tritone substitution meant, or this is what it should have been. So it's obviously sometimes it can be unrealistic to expect that you teach a concept today and then from tomorrow they're applying that in their songs and the solos and things like that.
No, of course.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I think also the fact that you are grilling them into kind of getting the best out of them, you know, obviously students need that as well. And yeah, one thing is, like, because we also get so many foreigner teachers that come here, right? They are not used to students being like, you know, guru shishya type. Like so many of these foreign artists who come here to teach, first things what happens is when they come here, they're kind of taken aback by the fact that, man, students here are like respect. We are getting this unconditional respect from students, which is not the case, I'm guessing. Like in the US and stuff, I feel like students don't necessarily view their teachers as being like, okay, this is like my guru and I need to give this person a lot of respect. I think it's just like a pure thing. But yeah, I think that's one very cool thing. But yeah, so Asha, I wanted to ask you, what have you been up to after you finished SAM? I mean, you graduated in 2012.
Yes.
And what's life been like since then?
Life has been a stream of continuous shows.
Okay.
Just gigs after
Bass
gigs.
player problems.
Bass player problems. Yes. I'm not complaining.
No, not at all.
But yeah, I just it's just been like gigs after gigs after gigs after gigs after gigs and rehearsals and just like memorizing set lists. That's about it.
So have you been doing anything other than like doing shows?
No, that's it. I'm just playing live and that's it. A little bit of teaching, but that is just very minor.
Okay.
You know, small part of what I do.
And in terms of music, who have you been playing with and majorly?
I'm playing with him like right now. We have a trio with Aditya Datta on drums. And we've just been playing in Delhi. I play with a bunch of other jazz trios, some pop bands, some experimental, like instrumental music, which is like not jazz, not rock, whatever, like just improv,
Right.
like soundscapey things. So I would say right now I'm playing with like some 7 bands. But yeah, because of course bass player gigs in Delhi would just come to you on the same day. Like 2 p.m. somebody would call, man, are you free right now? There is a gig somewhere. So it's been very busy that way.
Right.
Also Delhi has a huge scene when it comes to, as I said, pop music.
Right.
So yeah, that kept me like very occupied.
Right. What would you say is the biggest skill or quality that you need to have to be able to like accept these last minute gigs without having butterflies in your stomach?
You either are somebody who has like a lot of experience, who knows all the songs, or you should know how to read and write music to some extent.
So repertoire or like
the ability to
insanely good reading skills.
Yes.
But do you get a lot of these gigs where you get like charts for bass specifically?
Like for jazz gigs.
For jazz gigs,
yes.
I mean, a cheat sheet is fine.
Cheat sheet.
Like a lead sheet.
You said it. The dean said it. You know.
Not the dean.
I mean,
yeah.
it is the cheat sheet.
Yeah, I mean, is it not? I didn't know. I'm sorry. Was this like a?
No.
Is this like a taboo thing? Like you're not supposed to
Jazz
say?
police is on the way.
Jazz police. Yes.
Oh, so then I would have been arrested long
No,
back.
they
Half
will
an hour to
arrest.
come.
They will take your side because you're saying cheat sheet.
What's the deal with this? I don't know. Enlighten me on this.
So people look down upon people who are using iReal Pro or like cheat sheets. They're called iReal Bros.
So what are we supposed to do if you're not using a cheat sheet?
Play.
I mean, yeah.
Like use ears and just play.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
But then.
That's very purist, man. Like,
But then cheat sheets are good for like if you get hired as a session musician.
Yeah.
Right? Then you can't possibly.
I personally can't. I can't survive the gig without. I mean.
I mean,
yeah.
that's your thing. That's
But
completely
then like your kind of stuff will have a lot of compositional things.
Oh no! I'm saying like even like when I've played
Right.
like a jazz setting. I mean, I'm not played like a jazz setting as let's say hardcore as you guys, but even if it's a set which let's say has like these commercial shows, sometimes they have 25-30 songs just in which they'll be like because the singer actually is like really interested in jazz, she would put in let's say 5 or 6 standards. I would always have a cheat sheet, and I didn't know it's like a.
No, I mean, if you're doing your gig and you have the cheat sheets, then it's like, okay, it's your gig. But if you're like doing a session for somebody else, that's all right.
Okay.
But there you will find people who will still look at you and like, you don't know Bye Bye Blackbird.
But it's okay, people do it.
It's fun though. It's fun watching that culture also.
Interaction, yes.
Right? Indian people trying to play Western music and adopting
The
Western culture.
cultural aspect of
Yeah. Interesting.
It's like how everybody started using cool after Kuch Hota Hai. Like cool, like Shah Rukh Khan
Oh,
had like
yeah. I had that,
like
you
a
know.
thing, you know,
I had
like he
that.
had cool written on his t-shirt. And
I
everybody
paid
was
$15
like,
for it, I
man,
remember.
cool,
Cool,
you know.
yeah.
So everybody is looking at like YouTube videos of like jazz musicians talking. You don't know Lullaby of Birdland? And the whole band will be like, oh, this guy does not know Lullaby of the Birdland. So
Yeah.
it's amusing.
I would not put myself in such a situation because I actually don't know the song that you're talking about. So
You don't know Lullaby of the Birdland?
I just need a cheat sheet. Nah, I can hang. But yeah, what do you think about jazz being a medium for music education? I mean, so here's the thing, right? For obviously, when me and you studied at SAM, it was a lot more jazz,
Yes.
right? I mean, and when I say it was a lot more jazz, I also mean like the students also, everyone wanted to learn jazz, like except me, Hasnain, Vishnu, and maybe a couple of other guys. Everyone came in with that thing that, oh, we listen to John Coltrane. I mean, we didn't even know these names. Honestly, I didn't know who's John Coltrane before I came to SAM, right? So
The
it
police
was.
is on the way.
Sorry? It's okay. They have to get through my security.
It's okay.
No, so I mean, at that point of time, it was like all the students were also jazz, the teachers were jazz. It was a lot more jazz happening here, and now I feel like that's obviously toned down a little bit. But at least when it comes to, let's say, teaching a harmony lesson, it makes sense to use jazz as the medium to teach contemporary harmony. What do you think about that?
So I kind of like assumed that would be the case because all over the world, like
Yeah.
generally that's the thing, no?
Yeah.
But one thing I kind of discovered is like whenever I would try to break down a jazz song harmonically or try to like do an analysis or whatever, the students would get it like intellectually. Okay, yes, 2 dominant 7, 5, 7, whatever
Right.
it is, right? But then like unless they've heard the song and
Yeah,
there's
because then
this-
it becomes like a context issue, right? Because A, I'm listening to a song for the first time.
Yes.
B, you're asking me to understand a concept based on this song that I've just heard. So it's not,
Yes.
I've just heard what it sounds like, and now you're expecting me to.
Like for me, how I would have learned it is like teacher would have said, okay, go transcribe the chords to this song,
Right.
right? And then you go home and you struggle and then you figure out the wrong chord and then you go back and maybe the teacher will tell you, okay, this is not 2 minor, this is 2 major. Oh, modal interchange, So there's that sort of aha moment and hopefully the idea is that you'll relate to the song by then. But like initially, like in the harmony classes, I started sort of breaking down standards and everything. But towards the later part, I actually picked up pop songs and because Beatles has all the harmony in the
Yeah, I
way
was
that
just
you
going
need
to
to
say,
know.
Pana's lessons was always
Yeah.
Beatles.
So I felt like that could connect to the kids a little more.
Come back, Pana. Hello.
Yeah,
Hi.
for
Please
sure.
come
Please,
back to Sam. But yeah, because Beatles was Pana's thing. For me personally, it was like improv. Harmony was definitely actually it's probably harmony and improv. Just like my biggest eye openers because coming from a metal world, like the concept of improvisation, at least the music that I was listening to, did not exist. It was like you compose a guitar solo and you perform the guitar solo, and it's supposed to be the most phenomenal solo that you can play. Which, if your skill is at 100, it better be like at 120. That's what solos used to be about. And then I remember seeing Prasanna play. I remember seeing not just the guitar solos but even other instrument solos, and that's when I understood the freedom that you have with improv, where you every day if you're playing the same song, you would be playing a different solo. And of course, the harmony stuff as well, just understanding that this is why chords work well together. This is why this melody works well with this chord and stuff like that. And in terms of teaching, do you think like you taught mostly what you had learned here?
Not everything, because when I came here, I was already playing. Like professionally, I was playing.
Right.
So, but yeah, like everybody comes at their own, like wherever they are musically.
Yeah, of course.
So we were able to cover like most of the foundational stuff. Like rest is all just like logic.
Right.
Using common sense, putting two and two together and just like finding your way through it. Yeah. So that was it. But like something that you said about like jazz music and improvisation, even in jazz music, you're supposed to, like part of the training is that you're supposed to write the entire solo and make sure every note's dynamic. They call it intent for every note, like dynamic if you're doing vibrato, if you're sliding, if you're doing whatever, trills, hammer-ons, pull-offs, guitar language. So that has to be notated, and then you practice, and then all of that will start showing up in the improv. When I started, I thought, oh man, improv, you can play whatever you want, but then the same thing keeps coming out again and again.
Yeah.
So that way I don't see metal or classical music or Hindustani classical music in terms of training, not in terms of the genre, but in terms of training, where you have to write every note down and write the approach that you're going to take for every note. So very similar training wise.
Cool. What's next for you guys?
Next for me is I'm going to be heading back to Delhi. Looking forward to play with the band again. The weekly residency at Piano Man.
What
And
days?
then-
What days do you guys play on?
It used to be Wednesdays. Now once we go back, I don't know. We might have
I don't know
to,
if we have the job.
Yeah.
Do we have the job?
yeah, we'll have to see about that. But yeah, that's on the cards. Then I'm going to be working part-time at GMI. That's there.
Nice.
Yeah, that's these couple of things. For
Nice.
you?
Very good.
It's playing with him and other things, other gig opportunities. I have a tour with Vatsal, who used to teach keyboards, pianos last semester, I think.
Yeah.
No.
Vatsal was actually the first person that we did this podcast with. The first podcast we did was.
I remember watching that one.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to see.
Oh,
He had a
so
keyboard
you
and
are-
everything.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have
yeah.
to see.
So then you're one of the dozens of people who watched it.
One of the 12 people. Yes.
Yeah. So awesome, man! Like all the best, and hopefully we get you back here
For sure.
soon, and
sure.
you guys can do some more teaching, some more playing, some more what do you call it? Getting away from the traffic and the noise and all of that. Because I know Delhi.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that after this.
Of course.
Yes.
Awesome! Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Pleasure.